Eagles by 20. Eagles by 20. Yes, I said it. I ain't stuttered. I said it clearly. Eagles by 20. And that might be generous. Might be generous. Now, I saw that we're facing the Packers. Facing the Packers in the wild card. Now, last week, when we first kind of realized, all right, the Packers could be a real possibility during this wild card weekend, I was like, at first, I was like, dang. But then I started to think about it. And I was like, oh, these guys are frauds. They're flat out frauds. They are. And so I'm looking at this Packers team. We're going to talk about the Packers team. We're going to talk about this Eagles team, this Eagles offense, this Eagles defense. Before I start this episode off, I got to shout out my man, Tanner McKee. Tanner McKee snapped, y'all. He snapped. So for that crowd that was saying, he should have been quarterback too, you know what? Today was a great day for you. And I will say when I'm wrong, y'all might be right. Y'all might be right about that, John. Y'all might be right. Because he was amazing. And Howie Roseman is going to get some calls about that guy. And I'm only trading him, Howie, for a second-round pick. That's the only thing. That's the floor. That's the floor. Because if I'm, the Raiders, who else? Like, I'm trying to think who else needs a quarterback. But the Raiders should definitely, because they're not going to get Shador. So you might as well go ahead and get Tanner. If you want that, get that second-round pick, gang. Get that second-round pick. And Jahan Dotson, it was great to see Jahan Dotson flat out show up. Flat out show up. And we have a guy that he didn't have a great season at all. And that's kind of being nice to the brother. He didn't have a great season. But I'm looking at a guy that he didn't have the best season, but the last game of the year, his confidence should be on 10 going into the playoffs. I mean, he had 94 yards. That almost eclipsed what he had the whole season in Jahan Dotson. And so I do believe this is an indictment on Kellen Moore and Jalen Hurts because you have a first-round talent. You have a guy that y'all traded a third-round pick for. I know that A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith are higher in the depth chart and Dallas Goedert, and obviously Saquon Barkley gets a lot of touches. But for him to have less than 130 receiving yards is pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy, but I think his confidence is going to be on 10 going into the playoffs. And I will say this, we are going to need a big play, a big series. I don't know about a big game, but definitely a big play, big series from Jahan Dotson in the playoffs. And I believe he will show up. I'm saying that now. And when that happens, oh my gosh, we're going to play this back. I'm going to be like, oh my God. But we're talking about this Packers team, right? And throughout this week, we're going to have conversations about what this Packers team looks like and all that. We're going to have episodes with Eagles fans. I can't wait for this week. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait for this month because I told my friends, y'all going to hate me this month because we're going crazy, bro. It's playoff time. Like how Scott, man, show some love, show some love, show some love. All right. This Eagles defense is going to shut down the Packers. Shut them down. They already have Christian Watson out. Prayers up. He had a non-contact injury. Those aren't that good, and he's their best deep threat. That's a huge, big deal. Now you're focused on just Jaden Reed, Dontavian Wicks, and Romeo Doubs. That's light work. And I'm sorry, the last time Jordan Love had 250-plus passing yards was Thanksgiving against the Dolphins. Since then, the passing offense of the Packers just hasn't been there. I'm looking at the rushing offense. Josh Jacobs, he's had a great year. But even against the Lions defensive line, when they played them the second time, what happened? Oh, Josh Jacobs had less than 70 rushing yards against a Lions defensive line that was completely banged up. So what will Josh Jacobs do against this ferocious Eagles defensive line? That is not the same defense he played week one. I mean, the whole entire defense is not the same as they played week one. I mean, on all three levels, we see Nakobe Dean and Zach Bond be one of the best linebacker duos in the league. And I said this before, I'll say it again. If Zach Bond's name was Roquan Smith or Fred Warner, he would be the defensive player of the year. But nobody expected this from him. Hell, I don't even think Zach Bond expected this season. I mean, he even said in the interview, he was like, yo, like, I was in my contract, there was a stipulation where if I make the Pro Bowl, I get this incentive. And I laughed at it because I'm like, hey, I don't know if I can do that right now. I'm paraphrasing. And he's had a sensational year. I believe the first Eagles inside linebacker to be named the Pro Bowl since 2006, Jeremiah Charr Sr. That's huge. And then in the secondary, I mean, you have CJ Garner-Johnson, who he texted me, bro. He flat out texted. I ain't going to show the text, but just trust me because it's real talk, bro. Hey, just if you don't believe me, check to see if CJ Garner-Johnson follows Real Talk on Instagram. He def does. But he DM'd me and he said, yo, after the Buccaneers game, because I lit him up for getting cooked by Mike Evans after he was talking crazy before the game and saying we're going to put belt to ass, right? And he said, yo, like, I, had basically, I'm trying to get my feet under me. Like, I respect your takes. I respect all that, but like, trust the process. Like, I'm going to be better. And since that bye week, CJ Garner-Johnson has been lights out. He's been one of the best safeties in the league after that bye. We're seeing Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean be inserted in this lineup. I mean, Quinyon has always been inserted, and, he was stellar against the Packers. But we have Cooper DeJean in place of Avonte Maddox. Now, we saw that Packers game week one, and we saw how Jaden Reed was cooking Avonte Maddox. He will not do that to Cooper DeJean. I promise you that. I promise you that. And even like Nolan Smith out here since the bye week is a completely different player. He's been snapping. Jalen Carter has turned to be a top 4, top 5 defensive tackle in the game. Milton Williams having a career year. Josh Sweat has returned back to his form. So this Eagles defense is light years ahead of what they were week one. And they will shut down the Packers that are without their best deep threat. And this passing offense hasn't been that good. And Josh Jacobs has had a great year, but let's be honest, like Josh Jacobs versus this Eagles defensive line versus Jalen Carter, I'm taking the Eagles defensive line. That's what it is. And we all know that the Packers' formula for success is running early to set up the pass. What the Eagles will do is just stack the box and say, Josh Jacobs, you're not going off on our watch. And we trust our cornerbacks, our secondary, to lock up Jaden Reed, Dontavian Wicks, Romeo Doubs, bro. That's just what it is. And that's what's going to happen. They will lock them up. They will lock them up. Oh, not to mention that these past 3 games, the Eagles defense has forced 10 turnovers. They had 5 against the Commanders. They had 4 against the Cowboys. They had 1 against the Giants. Shout out Sidney Brown. So we're going to the playoffs, and this defense is playing elite. They are playing elite football. They are well rested. The vibes are great. Jalen Carter first Pro Bowl. Zach Bond first Pro Bowl. I mean, we have a collection of young guys that are hungry. Vic Fangio has done a phenomenal job. Christian Parker, he needs some love. Christian Parker is the Eagles defensive backs coach. And him, alongside Vic Fangio, has helped turn this Eagles secondary from 31st last season. We know how bad they were, to first in the league this season. That's impact. That's a complete transformation. And I'm not going to be surprised if Christian Parker gets called up to be a defensive coordinator somewhere else. And there's going to be a lot of these coaches on this staff are going to get some, other jobs. But everybody's going to want them because they've done a phenomenal job this season. Phenomenal job. That's what it is. That's exactly what it is. The Eagles defense is ranked number 1 in total yards by 27 yards. They have 280. That's how much they give up a game. And the next closest is the Titans, and they give up 307. That's a big gap. That's a big gap. Talk about this Eagles offense. I know y'all wanted me to talk about them. This Eagles offense is unguardable. It's flat out unguardable. And the Packers will not be able to stop them. Think about this, y'all. Week 1, the Eagles offense dropped 34 points. And this was before they found their identity of running the ball. I mean, we saw a guy in Saquon Barkley. He had 3 tutties, but if you watched the game, you saw like the way they use him now versus before the bye week is night and day. I mean, Kellen Moore thought Jalen Hurts was Dak Prescott, making him a drop back passer, all this stuff. And against the Packers, Jalen Hurts had 2 picks. So 2 of his 5 picks this season came against the Packers. That's not going to happen again. He has shown to be able to take care of the ball. All that talk about him being a turnover machine is cap. And he's proven that, actually 2023 is the outlier, which we'll talk about a little bit later. So they dropped 34 points and they had 3 turnovers that game. 3 turnovers. Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy. And Jair Alexander is out. So you're telling me Jair Alexander's out and A.J. Brown is going to be going up against the Packers' second best corner after he just lit up Jair Alexander last season. Not last season, but week 1. It's going to get bad. I predict that A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith will have monster games because the Packers defense will have to stack the box, just like every defense has had to do against Saquon Barkley. And that's going to force them to play A.J. Brown and Smitty one-on-one. And if A.J. Brown can cook Jair Alexander for $116 and a 67-yard touchdown to the crib, what do you think he's going to do to the Packers' second best cornerback? And then it trickles down because then Devontae is facing up against the Packers' third best cornerback. And I didn't even mention Dallas Goedert, who he was cooking against the Giants. Shout out to Tanner McKee too. He was cooking. And that's a guy that he's been injured and people forgot about him, but he's coming into the playoffs rested, healthy, and ready to go ahead and go crazy. And then you have Jahan Dotson out here who is having his best game of the season going into the playoffs. I mean, this offense is amazing right now. It is unguardable. It's flat out unguardable. But I have to go back to Jalen Hurts. I remember that there was talk about how Jalen Hurts in 2022 was an outlier. No, that's what we know he is. I'll say it again. There was talk about how 2022 for Jalen Hurts was his outlier. Nah, bruh. That's just what he does. 2022, he had 29 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. In 2024, he has 32 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. So actually, 2023, when he had 38 touchdowns and 15 interceptions, that was the outlier. That was the outlier. 2022 and 2024, that's what he does. That's exactly what he does. And in the playoffs, Hurts has 10 touchdowns to 2 picks. 2 picks. And his 2 interceptions came against the Buccaneers in 2021. And that was the team that won the Super Bowl. So what are we talking about? What are we talking about? Jalen Hurts is him. He's the most clutch quarterback in the NFL outside of Patrick Mahomes. If you want to say Stafford or Allen, I'm not going to be mad at it. I disagree, but I'm not going to be mad at it. But outside of those 3 guys, it's not even a debate. It's not even a debate. CJ Stroud, yeah, okay. Lamar Jackson, that's hilarious. Jordan Love, okay. Jerry Goff, you're a funny guy. So it's, come on. Jalen Hurts, when you need him to show up, He always delivers. And when you have A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts on the same team in the playoffs, the only guy that's beat them is Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes. Come on. This is an elite duo. Elite duo. And you could argue top 2, top 3 duo in the, I mean, that's not even an argument. You could argue top 1. You could argue top 1 off of just what they've done together. Because only the best quarterback ever, or whatever, top 3 quarterback ever has beat them. They are flat out sensational. And this was before adding an all-time great first ballot Hall of Famer running back in Saquon Barkley, who's rested now. I want him to get that record. I did want him to get that record. He ain't get it, but it's cool. It's cool. He's rested now, you know? And I'm going to be at the link. Let me say this too. I'm going to be at the link next weekend. Shout out my pops, man. He's going to get me a ticket. Now we do this thing every year because he's a Cowboys fan where like we go to like the game together. But this season, because they like changed the time of like the Cowboys game at the link, the scheduling didn't like do it. It couldn't work. But my dad told me that since we couldn't make the Eagles Cowboys game in the regular season, that he'll take me to the playoff game. Oh my gosh. Appreciate you. You know, I think my dad really is an Eagles fan. I think he really wants to see the Eagles in the playoffs. But, let's just say thank you, Pops. Thank you, Pops. And I'll give him that. I'll give him that for sure. It's my man. That's my man. That is my man. So that's what it is, bro. We're going to be at the link. I want to see y'all. It's going to be great. We're going to vlog. We're going to interview some of y'all. Meet me there. We're going to be lit. We're going to see a Jalen Hurts masterclass and an Eagles defense have a masterclass as well. That is exactly what's going to happen, y'all. That's exactly what's going to happen. And I saw the spread of this game. Now, it's initial spread, but it's only Eagles minus 3.5. I would hammer that. I'm not going to do it, but I would put my life savings on that because I thought the spread was going to be minus 6.5. Oh, no, it's minus 3.5. Are y'all serious? It's going to be a beatdown. It's going to be a double-digit win. I on everything I love, it's going to do that, bro. Everything I love. I'm trying to tell y'all, and that's what's going to happen. Look. And some of y'all be saying, oh, Miles, don't talk crazy. Don't jinx us. Stop. You're either new to Real Talk or you're not from Philly. This is what we do. We talk that talk and we back it up. Now, I don't want the players to talk crazy yet, but I'll do it for y'all. We good, y'all. I'm going to talk crazy before every game this playoffs. Because I have that belief in this team. I have that belief in Jalen Hurts. I have that belief in this Eagles offense. I have that belief in this Eagles defense. And I have the belief that we will come in Lincoln Financial Field and show up. That's what I'm feeling right now, bro. That's what I'm feeling right now. I have to get this off my chest. Real quick. It's just funny to me that, the 49ers last season was watching the Eagles lose that number 1 seed and they was cheering and you had Debo saying, go Kyler, go. And hey, you lost the Super Bowl. You lost that. I remember when Fletcher Cox was like, ha ha, I got something you don't, turkey. And then fast forward this season, the 49ers missed the playoffs. It's karma. It's karma for doing Kaepernick wrong. And y'all are simply the bougie Cowboys. Because the last time that y'all won, I wasn't even a thought. I don't even think my parents met each other. I think my dad was a junior in college. Now he's 50. It's sad. It's really sad. Oh, Commanders fans, y'all are hilarious. Because we know that deep down, y'all was like, can we not play the Eagles in the first round? Please can play the Rams. We know that's what y'all wanted to do. We know that. I know y'all was happy the Packers lost to the Bears. I know y'all was happy about that, John. So, you know, if y'all handle y'all business, maybe, just maybe, we will meet y'all and then, put belt to ass. Belt to ass. Belt to ass, boy. BTA, boys. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm talking crazy today. Oh, last John. Falcons fans. Falcons fans are hilarious because they won their Super Bowl week 2 against the Eagles. Now, fast forward, Kirk Cousins benched, Michael Penix in. Y'all missed the playoffs, lose to Bryce Young. That didn't even matter because the Bucks won regardless. It's hilarious. It's pretty funny. So, like we always say, every dog has its day. And I know y'all gonna enjoy Cancun. Y'all gonna enjoy that. Just keep just like just make sure Oh my god! I waited a long time. I waited a long time to do this because a lot of my friends from Atlanta. I went to Morehouse College in Atlanta. A lot of them was talking crazy. Like, look at y'all now. Look at y'all now. I mean, hell, maybe should have just kept Desmond Ritter. All right. I'm gonna stop trolling. But look, y'all, we're gonna talk about the Packers, Eagles all week. It's gonna be a crazy week, and we're gonna vlog. It's gonna be amazing at the link, bro. It's gonna be amazing, and I cannot wait. I'm gonna get these reels out for y'all. And like we always do, we keep it real. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that jazz. That being said, y'all, we are out.